Hello everybody, my name is Chef Todd. I'm the executive chef at Overlook Medical Center with Atlantic Healthcare, and today we're going to be touching on all types of variety of healthy foods. We're going to go through some healthy grains that have a lot of selenium in it, a lot of copper and zinc for mineral bases. We're going to touch on all types of different phytochemicals. Phytochemicals are the nutrients and the antioxidants and all the fresh produce. You want to look for vibrant colors. You want to look for lycopene. All these are chemicals within all this produce that makes it stand out. And that's what we're looking for healthiness on a healthy diet. Quinoa originally came from Lake Titicaca in Bolivia in the Andes Mountains, and the reason it grows in the Andes Mountains because quinoa it's actually a weed, and it's a weed that is relative to the goosefoot weed, and the goosefoot weed grows in arid areas, a lot of rocky climate, and because it's a vine, it doesn't have to have a lot of soil. So the Aztecs found years ago that this would be a great staple, and because it's all protein, it's healthy for you. Now, this is the raw state of the red quinoa. Once this is cooked in a nice vegetable broth, it comes like this. The quinoa has an epidermal germ to it, and when that germ is cooked, you'll see right here all the germ cells that come out. It has a little epidermal, and it's very nutty, and this epidermal is what makes it very soft after you cut it. Okay folks, we're going to start our preparation of our red quinoa, Tacoma, Washington red quinoa salad. And the reason it's a Tacoma, Washington is because of the sun-dried Bing cherries. We're going to start with an onion. And what you want to do when you first take an onion, you cut off the ends. We're going to score it down and peel it. What I like to do is take our onion. This is a classical technique. We slice it lengthwise like this. And then what you want to do is you want to go with the grain of the onion. And what happens is you're letting the onion rings make a perfect dice. It's a classical culinary technique, and you let the actual onion do all the work. So here we have an onion. We're going to dice this onion, and we're going to put it in, saute it along with some olive oil. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our diced onions, and we're going to saute that. And we're going to bloom the onions, and we just want to make it translucent. We don't want to caramelize it, we just want to make it translucent. We're now going to add our quinoa. And this is the red quinoa, and what we want to do is we want to bloom this quinoa because what we want to do is get that epidermal germ to pop. Quinoa is prepared pretty much just like rice, almost like brown rice or wild rice. You saute some of your ingredients, you bring out the flavor, you bloom all the ingredients with the flavor, and what we're doing right now is we're heating this up so that epidermal comes out. And we're also toasting it so it becomes a little nutty. It gives it a nice nutty flavor. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add some of our fresh herbs. And we like to use rosemary, sage, and thyme because of the antioxidants. The rosemary is very good antioxidants, and it helps oxygenate your blood, especially when it comes to our healthy aspect of it. So we're going to add that next. This is fresh sage, fresh rosemary, and fresh thyme. Once again, I'm adding that to the quinoa because we want the quinoa to become very nutty. And as this cooks, all these fresh herbs, the sage, rosemary, and thyme, are all blooming in, and they're flavoring the quinoa. We're going to let that cook for approximately 2 minutes. We have a fresh vegetable stock that we're now going to be adding to the quinoa. And we're going to bring it to a simmer. We're going to turn it down. We're going to let it simmer now. Bring it to a simmer, and we're going to let it simmer for 15 minutes. Then what we do after we have our quinoa cooked, we're going to chill it, and then we're going to create our salad. We make it as a cold salad. What we're going to do now is, now that it's cooled, of course, you know, this is on film, so it's been in the refrigerator for about an hour and a half now. It's nice and cool, and this is what we have. We have our quinoa. You could see the natural flavors. You could see all the natural epidermal that came out. What we're going to do is we're going to toss that. We're going to put some of it aside in a big bowl. And I'm going to show you how to pith an orange. What we do is we take our orange, we cut it in half. We're going to slice the end off. We're going to tip it upside down. The reason we want it flat, we don't want it to roll. We want to be safe in the kitchen. We don't want to hurt ourselves. And we're going to peel it. Like we said with the kiwi, we're peeling it along the peel, just like any type of round fruit or vegetable. You peel it, you cut it, make sure it's flat, and you see this membrane here? What we're going to do is run our knife along that membrane, because this membrane is the bitter part of the orange. You could smell the flavor of the orange. Kiwi has as much vitamin C as a whole navel orange. And that's why we use a lot of kiwi in our dishes. We use a lot of fresh oranges. Now you see this membrane? This is the bitter part of the orange. What we want to do is pith it. And pith the orange is we take the side of our knife and we cut on an angle right along the membrane, and a segment comes out. And that's pithing an orange, so we don't get the membrane. We just want the flavorful part of the orange. We want the sweetness. And here is the orange. You can see what's left. It's just the membrane. We don't want any of that. It's very tough. It tastes okay. It's a little bitter, but you don't want to digest that. Now we have our quinoa. We're going to add chickpeas. We're going to add some orange zest. We have some orange zest mixed with some honey. We want to try to eliminate as much table salt out of our diet, so we like to use the natural flavor of a little kosher salt. We're going to add our sun-dried cherries, our Bing cherries. Seth Lewin was the one that actually in Washington State came up with the Bing variety of cherry, and the reason he called it Bing because at the time on his farm he had a Manchurian foreman and his name was Bing, so they named them Bing cherries. Then we're going to take a ginger sesame dressing, and we're going to add that to our red quinoa. And we're going to toss it. And that's it. We have a great quinoa salad with sesame ginger dressing. And this is a protein salad. What we're going to do is we're going to make a harvest orchard salad. Now what we've done earlier is we toasted the walnuts. We have sunflower seeds, shelled sunflower seeds, coconut. We're going to make a fresh raspberry dressing vinaigrette. We have a food processor here. We're going to take fresh raspberries. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our fresh raspberries, we're going to put it in our food processor along with the walnuts. We're going to do walnuts first because this is a raspberry walnut dressing. And when it comes to nuts, you could use any type of nuts. You could use pecans, you could use walnuts, you could use cashews, you could use almonds. We're going to use the almonds in with the salad. But right now we're just making the raspberry walnut vinaigrette dressing. So we have about a half a cup of walnuts. We're going to process them in our food processor. We're going to let that process. And what you want to see, it becomes like a little sawdust here. That's what you want. Then we're going to add our raspberries. Now, to keep it healthy, what I like to do is a lot of people strain it because they don't like the nut, the crunchiness of the nut, but I think it adds to texture. I think it adds to your palate when you're eating a salad. So we got our fresh walnuts, our fresh raspberries. Now, another thing I like to add is a fresh honey. This is a thyme-flavored honey, and what happens is bees, wherever they are in the fields, they pollinate the hive. So if it's a field of thyme, your honey is going to have a thyme flavor. We're going to take the honey. We're going to add a little honey to our Cuisinart because we want to give it a little texture. We're going to puree the honey along with our raspberries. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add about a half a cup of vinegar, red wine vinegar. And now we're going to add our EVOO, our extra virgin olive oil. We want to add about a cup and a half to 2 cups of that. Now we're going to let that blend. So now we have our dressing. We're going to put that aside and we're going to create our salad. What we want to do is we want to take our baby field greens, baby romaine, we have frichet, we have purple root, we have baby oak leaf, we have mosh in here. These are baby field greens with a lot of nutrients. And as we create this, we're going to put in the salad. Now what we want to add to our salad, we're going to add a lot of nuts. We're going to add a lot of texture because your palate thrives for texture. It thrives for the antioxidants. It thrives for the riboflavin. What we're going to do is we're going to add some of our almonds. We're going to add some shelled sunflower seeds. We spoke about coconut earlier from New Zealand. So now we have all our dried stuff mixed in it. We have some almonds, some safflower seed, our coconut. We're going to add some sun-dried cranberries. We talked about some nuts. We added our almonds. We're going to add some cashews. You could put anything in this. You have your recipes in front of you of all these great dishes, but you can experiment. Listen, folks, this isn't rocket science. If you screw it up, all you got to do is eat it. We're going to add some of our walnuts that we discussed earlier, all the nutrients and all the medicinal value. We're going to add some banana chips. And then we're going to take our fresh dressing that we made. We have our fresh dressing here. And this is the raspberry dressing we made earlier. And we're going to just toss a little bit in here. And what we want to do is coat. And you always want to add your dressing last and coat all our baby field greens. Okay, folks, now we've made our quinoa. The quinoa cooled. We tossed our red quinoa with our ginger sesame dressing. And now we've plated it. And here, we have our pithed orange segments along with our cherries in it. And we have our salad that we made earlier, the Harvest Orchard salad. And what we want to do is we want to try this. Now, we have all that protein from the garbanzo beans. You can see that. We have the protein from the epidermal from the red quinoa, because we discussed earlier that there's very little fiber and it's mostly protein. We want to taste, oh my God. Guys, this is so awesome. It's like your taste buds are just exploding. Also, folks, this Harvest Orchard salad, I mean, you could taste in this, you could taste the fresh thyme. That thyme honey we spoke about, along with the sweet berries. Guys, this is a must. Let me tell you something. You incorporate this in your diet, take 10% of your processed meats out, you start making food like this, you tell me how better you feel after a month. Everybody, thank you for joining us here at Overlook Medical Center and the Carol G. Simon Cancer Center in the American Institute of Cancer Research. And we hope you enjoy this food and we hope you enjoy our recipes.